Yo, people, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back.
Pause. Welcome back to my channel because it was carnage out there. So welcome back to Football Carnage. But you know what? Welcome back to our channels.
Listen, Grizz decided to gate crash this post-match reaction, and this is probably the only time I'm going to smile. First of all, I want to say, you know what? Congratulations, the better team won. Yeah, no sour grapes from me today, apart from Dominic Szoboszlai shouts. But we'll leave that. We'll leave that for
Yeah,
another
listen.
time.
The Big Six was a jungle. We're here to do some serious football analysis.
We'll leave that for another time. But like today, for me, I felt Liverpool were more than worthy of their result, and I actually felt the result actually flatters us.
Scoreline.
The scoreline, sorry, flatters us 6-3. I know people say, oh, yeah, look at Spurs trying to fight back, but let's be serious.
Yeah.
We're 5-1 down. You started taking off players. Of course, naturally, you're going to sort of take your foot off the gas a little bit. And even in that period, you still had opportunities to go at our team. I want to talk about my outbursts on the show because everyone looks at the Ange thing and they're obviously going to talk about the Madison thing, but in fact, even before I start talking about the analysis, I want to shout out every single Spurs fan today who went to the protest. Yeah, we had a protest today, Leave Me
Okay.
Out protest. I want to shout out every single Spurs fan who went there. I unfortunately couldn't go because we're doing the mob. I'll be there on the 29th. I'm hoping they're still running the protest that they plan on the 29th. I'll be there because a result of enabling this ownership, this hierarchy, is what you see manifested on the football pitch today. You see us having to bring on an 18-year-old to try and chase the game of football. You see us having to play an 18-year-old at left centre back. You see us having to use right backs at left backs. I don't want to hear it anymore. Enough is enough. They have to go. They absolutely have to go.
From the Liverpool point of view, and people, welcome to Football Carnage. Smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Look, before the game, we were talking about sort of the situation Spurs find themselves in and the pressure that was on Liverpool. And look, there was a certain amount of pressure because there was a 9-point gap only a couple of weeks ago, and suddenly that potentially was down to Chelsea could have gone top if they had won at Everton. So there, the pressure was there. Arsenal, obviously, with a similar game yesterday where it was mad and it ended up 5-1. So the pressure was on Liverpool, and all eyes were on Liverpool to see what they would do. And as we said before the game, we knew Spurs had played the same 11 for 3 matches in 7-8 days. The squad was absolutely stretched, and I thought Slot's selection would have meant more control in the opening 20 minutes, and then try to get that first goal. Because I knew if we get the first goal, the only way you was going to hold on was if you get the first goal and the crowd really rallies behind you and you really get some adrenaline going, because there was no way your players had the physical capability to outrun, outpress, and even outplay Liverpool for the whole 90 minutes.
Mhm.
And I guess that's pretty much how it turned out, right? From the start, pretty much.
Yeah, so we knew we were up against it,
Mm.
not just from a quality perspective, but even just
The
from
energy.
an energy perspective as well. Like, not only are you playing a team that has more quality than you to punish you, you have a team who are more
Fresh.
who are fresher.
We
Who've got
rested all our team
rested
in the Carabao Cup.
exactly
You didn't. You played a
exactly.
very difficult game against Man United that went down to the last minute.
Exactly, and not only is it freshness in terms of the players that you're competing against in the starting 11, but you've also got fresh players off the bench to come on to change the game if it went ropey, right? But I have sympathy for Ange Postecoglou in that respect, and I have sympathy for some of our players in that respect. That
No options.
you're playing a lot of football, so there's you don't really have that much option. But I still have to be critical because I've seen that type of performance from Tottenham, even when everyone's been fit. I've seen the midfield gaping. I've seen the lack of protection for our defense. I've seen the overcommitting of players to try and chase a goal, not prioritizing how it's going to actually leave us defensively, what that's going to do for our shape. And I don't just put it all on the manager today. Dragusin, who you've spoken about, and you've warned me about his deficiencies defensively. I've always said to you, Dragusin, he defends decently. But today, what I saw,
Yeah,
you know,
but it's hard in this situation. I mean, I am a critic of Drexel when you sign it, but today's probably harsh to pick out the weakest part of your
but
pitch.
but this
The
is
protection's not there.
I understand, and I'm just trying to just look at it across the board because
Mm.
I do think there are certain players today that really let themselves down. But ultimately, even when players are playing well, even when we have 80% of our squad, 100% of our squad, 50% of our squad. What really concerns me is with Ange Postecoglou, there's this consistent attitude to play a way that you feel is best possible to get the result instead of the way that suits the squad or players that you have
Yeah.
at your disposal or suits the opposition that you're playing to try and get Tottenham the best possible outcome. I look at the fact that he played Pedro Porro again, Pedro Porro who's been flogged. Destiny complained about fatigue, right? We rested him midweek. You could have started Destiny today. You played Jed Spence at right back. That's a much better matchup against Luis Diaz than Porro. We saw Porro getting rantangled against Luis Diaz today. In the midfield, there's no such thing as compactness. And what is weird to me is today we weren't even pressing that high in the first half. We weren't leaving just on number 6 by itself. We had Saab playing next to Basuma, but yet it's just like there's just this innate need for us to have so many spaces in between our players. And it makes it so easy for teams like Liverpool to just cut us through. How many times is Trent slicing through us? How many times is Diaz slicing through us? McAllister slicing through us? One pass and you're splitting our team open. It's not good enough, man.
From our point of view, it pretty much went to exact plan. Me and you spoke, and you didn't watch the mob. You missed out on an absolute classic. I suggested that McAllister was going to start off in a deeper role, and lo and behold, he did. So we gained that control, exerted that control. I thought we were impatient in the first 15, 20 minutes. We were trying to hit the early pass way too much. And I was like, just be a bit more patient and we will absolutely walk through you at times, because I knew the energy levels will sap. And that's exactly what happened. Trent was a bit wasteful in the opening 15, 20 minutes, and then he suddenly starts finding his range. And if you're going to give someone of the caliber of Trent Alexander-Arnold the space without the pressure, like you said, and then the runners like Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah, all road runners, you're going to be in trouble. And look, McAllister started off as a double pivot with Gravenberch, who again was magnificent. Gravenberch, you have been a revelation. McAllister then started moving up and joining Szoboszlai in the high press. When we realised you couldn't play out, we pressed you even more, forced more errors from you. And I think a couple of our goals, we can't remember, were for unforced errors. Not all were from brilliant play from Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, some were for the errors that we pressed.
Yeah.
Forced. So from a Liverpool point of view, I thought it was strategically absolutely perfect, apart from the final 5-10 minutes where I don't know how people perceived it and what they saw, but for me it was lackadaisical and pressure was off.
So I do think even if we didn't concede those goals today, you still would have found it. Even if we didn't concede those chances that led to
Through
goals,
errors, yeah.
you would have scored again because of how we were set up. But I do want to talk about the goals we conceded, because I mean, the first goal, I'm trying to remember the first goal.
Trent cross.
It was a fantastic cross. Like, I could complain about Diaz ghosting into the box without marking, because that's a continuous thing I see with Spurs. Players just ghost into our box unopposed, unchallenged, and they're able to connect with the ball and work our goalkeeper. But even if I wanted to be less critical, I could say, you know what, fine. That's a Trent fantastic cross. Like, okay, that's harsh. It's 1-0. Even though we weren't playing well and you were already creating openings before that. But the second goal, McAllister to just walked into our box unopposed, unchallenged. Basuma has no idea where he is. And then Szoboszlai wins the aerial duel. Fine. It's Szoboszlai. He's tall. He's 6 foot something, and he's actually quite good physically. But it's the second ball. And there's no one there to actually stop McAllister from heading the ball into that back of the net. And then our third goal, our centre-back, probably the most experienced definitely the most experienced out of the two, out of him and Archie Gray. And he's gone sprinting to chase a ball to try and win an aerial duel with Dominic Szoboszlai, leaving our defence completely exposed. Doesn't win the header. And then, of course, it's a 4v2. And we all know what happens there. Szoboszlai finds the right pass and Mo Salah. In fact, sorry, it's Salah finds the right pass to Szoboszlai and it's 3-1. And that's why I'm like, that's why I'm trying to look at everything in totality. So I've spoken about the ownership first. I've spoken about Ange, but I have to speak about some of these players, because there's things that you should not be doing in any game of football, let alone against a team right at the top of the league. So for me, it's very, very poor defending. But again, I have to bemoan the fact that the defenders, they get no protection from the way we play.
Again,
In
from our
midfield, they get no protection from the way we play. Our energy levels, they're not protected because of the way we play.
again for the Liverpool fans on my channel, from our point of view, it was poetry in motion at times. The balance between our midfield, I'd say, was pretty perfect today in terms of the high octane energy pressing from Sabozalai, who we've been asking for output. He added output to the endeavours that he puts in every game anyway. McAllister, I thought, has been probably the least. Like, he's been underwhelming this season, but the last couple of games he's really gone up a level. And today I thought he was sublime. And Gravenberch is just fantastic so far. But I must mention Trent's defensive display as well. He started off a bit sketchy. There was a couple of balls in behind where Son doesn't use his pace, but uses positional sort of sense to get the better of him. But I thought Trent was very, very good defensively. Again, Robertson on the other side. Kulusevski got the better of him in the opening half an hour, but Robertson won a lot of duels after that. And obviously they score a couple of goals, but I thought Robertson on the whole. Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, I know it's difficult to big them up when we've conceded 3 goals, but as I said, if they were focused and on it like they were until up to the 75th minute, that was a 5-1, 6-1 job. And I thought Virgil and Joe Gomez were brilliant. So throughout the team, we had heroes. As I said, the pressure was on us. We tick off another difficult fixture away. Regardless of what Spurs are, where Spurs are, when you play the Big Six away from home, you have to try to get wins or go unbeaten on the road, especially. And this makes up for me the draw that we had to Fulham. So the pressure was on us. Because we slipped up against Fulham, we had to go and get 3 points. And I was telling us before the game, it's a must win. And so from a Liverpool point of view, I absolutely understand the frustration from the Spurs. I was really confident once I found out that you played the same team for 3 days 3 games consecutively. Your energy levels. Archie Gray, I've told you about Archie Gray, in my opinion. He's a wonderful football player.
Good technician.
But to be asking a kid to play centre-back up against seasoned
and he did relatively
pros,
well today.
some of the best forwards in Europe, man, in Salah, Diaz, and Gakpo potentially on the upward curb. It was a tall ask, tall order. But we capitalised. We had to capitalise and make sure we don't give any encouragement to Chelsea and Arsenal. So from the Liverpool side of things, we absolutely done what's needed and on we roll. But I get the frustrations from your aspect.
And listen, we had lost, or we hadn't won at home in our last 3 games in the Premier League. We lost to Chelsea, we lost to Ipswich, we drew against Fulham. I can understand and I can understand and sympathize with the injuries, but sorry, these results, they're not good.
That's not good.
And then when you're not getting the results and you're still playing the same way, you don't even want to make enough tweaks or variation to the way you want to play to at least give the team a better foothold in a game of football. I'm sorry, conceding 6 goals to Liverpool today. Nobody can tell me, oh my God, just look at the injuries. Sorry, because I've seen this team give up chance after chance after chance after chance with better players. And it concerns me that we have a manager who I don't want to call him careless, but we have a manager who's so lackadaisical.
Naive?
Not even naivety, but he's just so, it's like he's unbothered about the fact that the team are conceding chances. So there's this stat going around that, Spurs have only been beaten by 1 goal by only 1 team this season, and that's Liverpool. But then I look at Bournemouth, they should have destroyed us. They created like a 3.66 XG. We should have conceded about 3 or 4 goals.
Wow.
We should have lost by more to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, they've only won 1 game all season. And they beat us at home.
That was horrible. That was horrible.
Zip. And that was with our fully fit. Van der Ven played, Romero played, we had players available. I look at games like Chelsea. The game ended 4-3. Similar circumstance to here, even though obviously you have more quality than Chelsea, right? But the game ended in similar circumstance to Chelsea, where you're so clear that you started taking players off, and naturally you've dropped off, you've retreated, and then that gives us a bit more life to make the scoreline look a little bit sexier. But they should have probably hit us for at least a 2 or 3 goal margin.
Well, today we were talking about double figures.
So yeah, Liverpool. We looked at the stats.
Insane.
Look at the stats. So the stats are scary. The stats are
scary.
24 attempts. Liverpool had a XG of 4.6. They had 9 big chances created.
Is that the highest? Can someone in the comments, in his channel and my channel, can you leave in the comments if that's the highest ever XG?
Nah, it's not, because Chelsea had a higher one against Southampton this season, like 5 point something. But the point is this: like, you've not even made it difficult for Liverpool today. Like you're only focused on how we can score goals.
I don't
Great.
think, yeah, but I honest to God, and this is not after the Lord Mayor's show, I didn't think how you'd be able to sustain it for
Yeah,
the long
but
period.
Grizz, it's not
But
about.
there was no patch, you're right.
But this is the problem. There was no way
There was no
Spurs were
patch,
going to
yeah.
win the game. But at least make it harder for Liverpool. On another day, we've lost 6, and I'm here saying the scoreline flatters us.
Yeah,
Do you know
it's
how
crazy.
scary that is?
That's very scary. And from our aspect, we haven't always put our chances away. I've been saying to close friends and circles, we will thrash someone very soon. But I was waiting for that. You know, we keep scoring 1, 2 goals and control. But I knew this would be a crazy head loss of a game. I knew it's going to be a gunslinging match. And the reason for that, and I know you don't like it at the moment, but the reason for that is your coach. I knew he's not going to change. Yeah, I knew that.
There you go then.
It was like,
you can't go toe to toe with everybody.
Check this out. So Liverpool fans will know, Arne Slot in his press conference gave so much toffee to Ange. He was talking about, the brand of football he's playing. I love it. People need to put respect on Ange's name. He's got an identity. He should stick to his identity. I was like, you're reeling him in because you knew he's going to play that way. And then boom. Look, from a Liverpool point of view, it was a job done. It was demolition job done. Confidence must be sky high now. And look, people are trying to bait me out and saying, is that the title over? Come on, kids, grow up. It's December. It's not even Christmas yet. Okay, it's on the verge of Christmas. And we know the season is long. We've seen from Arsenal, we've seen from Man City what a couple of injuries can do, a couple of suspensions can do. But right now, we for sure are in a very, very strong position.
And I just want to end on this as well, right? Because we were linked with Onslaught. We interviewed Onslaught. I think he rejected us, right? We ended up getting Ange Postecoglou. And I've always said this. I like Ange as a person. I like his personality. I like it when the football's good. But I don't believe that this guy's going to take us forward. I really don't. I don't believe that if we gave this guy all the tools possible, he will be the manager to make the difference when it's a game of fine margins and you really need your coaching to come to the forefront. That's why I'm honestly disillusioned with him as our coach. And the only saving grace for me with Ange Postecoglou as our manager right now is the sheer fact that there's no one else that we can get potentially to come in at this point in time. That's not to say don't try. We absolutely need to try because I think it's after the Chelsea game and today just reinforces it. Injuries, no injuries, players available, good team, poor team. You're just a manager who's just as stubborn as the managers that we've had in the past. The managers that would put their own way of playing above the team's ability to get a result in any given game of football. And for me, that's a dangerous precedent that's a dangerous mentality to have because it's what got Antonio Conte sacked, right? And it's something that we didn't want to see, and now we're seeing it. But we're seeing it in a manager who plays football at the other end of the scale.
Fair.
Onslaught, when you lot were down to 10 men against Fulham, we saw him change various things to try and get the game of football. Did it stop you lot from attacking? No. Did it stop you lot from defending the way you want to play? Did it stop you from keeping the ball you want to play? Like, when we say changes, it doesn't mean abandon your philosophy. It means make tweaks in your philosophy that can give the team a better foothold.
It's actually, you mentioned Arne Slot in terms of the sort of the changes and everything. I think Arne Slot has been a breath of fresh air. He hasn't stuck to one way of playing. Liverpool have played many ways differently this season, many games differently this season. We've been gung-ho like today. We've been structured. We've been strong defensively. We've done quite a few variations. And you know what? Kudos to Arne Slot. I know he was highly thought of. I know you actually rated him because when you was linked with him,
I did my research. I'm calm with him.
Yeah, you've done your research on him. So look, I'm absolutely over the moon, chuffed to bits. I was actually calm today. And this is what the manager has done from a Liverpool point of view. Obviously, Toby's raging from a Spurs point of view. But listen, this has been a post-match reaction for Football Carnage.
And tap in, Tobes. People, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to both our channels. We're out. Peace.